Hello YouTube, how are you? I have decided to do something different than the standard retail sales speech, and tonight I will sell you the truth about men that are abused by their female partners. And I will also ask for your help to support these men. Since this is essentially a sales speech, I will start by describing the persuasive process used in sales. I will then introduce the scenario, which is, in this case, an activist asking for your help and donations and government grants. I will enact the sales process with a volunteer. Well, in this video there is not going to be any volunteer, but in the real speech there will be one. And finally, there will be an informal discussion, including questions and answers. Now, about the persuasive process used in sales. The first step is building rapport with the buyer. The has to be a friendship report. The seller has to come across as friendly, and he also has to come to present himself with credibility, so he has to come across as an authority on the topic. The next step is to identify the needs of the buyer. So in this case, it is the needs of society as a whole. The questions I will be asking is, what is the role of men in society? What is the role of fathers? What would a society without men look like? Are men good? Quoting from the Bible, Genesis, that is why a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two of them become one body. Now later in Genesis, God is talking to Eve. Yet your urge shall be your husband, and your urge shall be for your husband, and he shall be your master. Now the problem is that some men are abused in relationships. Actually, quite a few men are abused in relationships, and when they are abused, they often get sick. They may have legal issues as a result of the abuse. Their lives may be destroyed. They definitely would need help in those cases. But the situation, unfortunately, the situation today is that there is hardly any help for men. Quoting from the Bible, Judges, and this is the story of Samson. She, Delilah, had him sleep on her lap and called for a man who shaved off his 7 locks of hair. Then she began to mistreat him, for his strength had left him. How many of you believe that the losing his hair actually caused him to lose his powers? The solution. Would counseling benefit men that are abused? Would they benefit from therapy? Would a shelter be a possibility? Would they benefit from legal help, from more permanent housing when they lose their homes? What about rehabilitation, employment, help to obtain employment, and protection in some extreme cases? Well, now to this scenario. In this scenario, I'm an activist and I'm asking for help, and the help is for abused men. And the help that I'm asking for is in form of donations, grants, and help from the government. So I'm an activist and I'm helping abused men. Why? Well, we all hear of abused women, of domestic violence, rape, emotional abuse, and so on. But are men being abused by their female partners too? Well, the answer is yes. Quite a few of them are, actually. And the abuse ranges from dating abuse for a free meal or drinks, to using weapons or vehicles to harm and even kill. Have you heard the term toxic woman? That term is usually linked to a personality disorder such as borderline personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder. These personality disorder essentially a personality disorder, such a personality disorder is essentially an arrest in emotional development. Basically, what we have in these cases is an adult with the mind of a child, and the characteristics are interpersonal manipulations, lack of empathy, lack of remorse, impulsivity, and pathological lying. We're talking about a very abusive person, indeed. Now, to dating abuse. Dating abuse is when a woman or a girl dates a man without any good intentions for the purpose of obtaining a free meal or a drink. Pregnancy abuse, and that is when a woman lies about using protection and gets pregnant despite of the wish of her male partner, and she does that in order to get child support, either from the man or from from social services. Emotional abuse, I'm not going to describe that here, but when we talk about emotional abuse, women are just as equipped, or maybe even better equipped than men. Threats and manipulations, such as "I'll call the police if," or "I'll just call the police." The silent treatment, for example, and pretending to cry or to shed tears. Another form of abuse often used is parental alienation, and that is when the mother, who has more access to the child, brainwashes the child basically makes the child hate his father. Battery, physical harm using weapon or vehicles. Many women turn to weapons or use vehicles to run over their male partners. And finally, false accusations. Unfortunately, both VAWA, the Violence Against Women Act, which is federal legislation, and domestic violence shelters encourage false accusations of women against men. False accusations are much worse than abuse by one person, by a person. The reason for that is that men that are falsely accused find themselves in a situation where an entire system is against them, and we're talking about, and that includes the police, child services, district attorney, court, judges. Even when dismissed, when the false accusations are dismissed, there is an enormous damage done. What's the solution?